Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm excited to be here with you today. We're going to explore a very important topic: how to recognize when someone is emotionally safe in a relationship. The slide you're looking at is titled 7 Green Flags That Someone is Emotionally Safe in a Relationship, and it's an expert guide to understanding those positive signs. Over the next few minutes, we'll go through these key indicators that can help you build healthier and more trusting connections. So, let's dive in and discover what makes a relationship truly safe and supportive. Let's talk about why this really matters. You might have come across people who seem too perfect. They're calm under pressure, always polite, and never seem upset. It's tempting to think that these traits are a sign of strength, but Carl Jung warned us that sometimes the most dangerous individuals hide behind that very mask of perfection. In relationships, emotional safety isn't about finding someone who's flawless. It's about honest contact, being able to see and accept both the light and the shadow in ourselves and in others. It's about embracing the parts we're proud of and those we might prefer to hide. Today, I'll share with you 7 practical, observable green flags, things you can watch for that indicate genuine emotional safety. For each, I'll explain the psychological foundation, give you concrete behaviors or short examples, and suggest ways to test and interpret these signals. Ultimately, this is about understanding what authentic connection looks like and recognizing the signs that someone is truly safe to be around. This knowledge helps us build better, more trusting relationships rooted in honesty and mutual acceptance. Let's talk about self-awareness as a key green flag in healthy relationships. When someone admits they're imperfect and understands why they do what they do, it's a sign of real maturity. Psychologist Carl Jung referred to the shadow as those parts of ourselves we deny or hide. People who have done the inner work can actually identify their triggers and patterns instead of projecting them onto others. That kind of awareness makes them more reliable partners because they recognize when their shadow might be influencing their behavior. You'll notice signs like, "I know I get defensive when I feel criticized, I'm working on it," or being able to explain past mistakes without minimizing or excusing them. For example, after a disagreement, they might say, "I snapped at you today because I felt ignored, and that's an old wound from my childhood. I'm sorry." A good way to test this gently is to bring up a minor past conflict and see if they can reflect on their role without becoming defensive. Remember, though, watch out for signs of false humility like, "I'm perfect," or constant excuses framed as apologies. True self-awareness involves taking responsibility and showing curiosity about oneself, not just justification or deflecting blame. Let's talk about emotional honesty. This is when someone feels their emotions deeply and can name them clearly, whether it's anger, jealousy, or sadness, without weaponizing those feelings against others. This is a green flag because it shows emotional safety. When people feel safe enough to express difficult feelings without blaming or attacking, it creates a healthier, more trusting connection. As Jung suggested, integrating the shadow, those darker feelings, turns them into useful data instead of weapons. When someone says, "I'm jealous" or "I felt hurt," and then follows up with curiosity like, "Can we talk about that?" it shows they're open to understanding their emotions rather than using them to punish or manipulate. They're not using feelings as leverage, they're just sharing and seeking connection. For example, someone might say, "I felt left out when you didn't tell me about the weekend plans. I don't want to control you, I just wanted to share how I felt." That's honest, clear, and respectful. It communicates a feeling without blame, opening the door for understanding. To gently test this, you can ask about small things, like how they felt about missing a call or a canceled plan, and observe whether they name the emotion and seek resolution. Do they express their feelings openly, or do they make accusations like, "I felt ignored, so you must not care"? That's a red flag, projection rather than true emotional integration. In essence, emotional honesty fosters safety and authenticity, and it's a crucial part of building trust in any relationship. Let's talk about accountability, which is a really important green flag in any relationship. When someone apologizes, repairs, and changes their behavior, It shows they truly value the relationship over their pride. Saying, sorry is often easy, but what really matters is whether they follow through with repairing the situation. That demonstrates ethical consistency and honesty about their shadow impulses. A timely apology is key. When they recognize they've done wrong, they should acknowledge it quickly. Then they need to take concrete steps to fix the issue. This isn't just about words, it's about action. And beyond that, they should learn from the experience and adjust their future behavior accordingly. For example, if they break a promise, a genuine apology would sound like, I missed dinner because I mismanaged my schedule. I'll set a calendar alert and make it up this weekend. That's a clear, concrete fix. Now, how do we test this gently? Notice if their apologies are followed by consistent behavior change over weeks, not just a one-time apology. If someone keeps saying, I'm sorry, but never actually changes, or they apologize and then justify their actions, that's a sign that accountability might be shallow. Ultimately, accountability is about showing that they genuinely care, by admitting faults, repairing the damage, and improving over time. Let's talk about non-defensiveness and curiosity during conflict, because this is such a green flag in any relationship. When someone is emotionally safe, they can actually tolerate being seen and questioned without falling into blame or just withdrawing altogether. This ability to hold their discomfort and stay engaged is a hallmark of integration. You'll notice signs of this when people ask clarifying questions or reflect back what they've heard. Instead of jumping to reject your experience, they might say, help me understand, which shows genuine curiosity rather than defensiveness. For example, if you bring up a hurt, a person practicing this skill might respond with, it sounds like you felt disregarded, is that right? And then calmly share their perspective. This kind of response demonstrates openness and a willingness to understand, rather than defensiveness. If you want to test this gently, try bringing up a small concern. Observe whether they listen and stay present, or if they escalate or stonewall. This can give you a good sense of how they handle discomfort in real time. Now, a word of caution. Watch out for people who always agree but never really examine their behavior. That can be more about placating than genuine engagement. And of course, persistent defensiveness is a clear red flag. It shows they might not be able to handle the vulnerability that comes with conflict. Overall, fostering curiosity and non-defensiveness is key to healthy, safe communication, and it ties directly into the broader theme of emotional safety and connection. Let's talk about respectful boundaries that are explained, not punitive. Jung warned us about people who set boundaries just to punish or control, which is not healthy. Instead, healthy boundaries protect both partners and are communicated with respect and empathy. Clear communication is key. For example, saying something like, I need an hour to recharge after work, is straightforward. It's about negotiating and sharing your needs rather than imposing them. Mutual respect also plays a crucial role. Respecting each other's limits and expecting the same in return creates a balanced dynamic. If you can't attend an event because large crowds overwhelm you, you might say, I can't attend that event. I get overwhelmed in large crowds. I'd love to spend time with you afterward instead. That's a respectful, balanced approach. To gently test boundaries, start by asking about small preferences, like whether someone needs alone time, their social media habits, or how they feel about certain social settings. Notice if their boundaries are mutual and if they're explained clearly. However, be cautious. If a boundary comes with threats, guilt-tripping, or is used to control your choices, that's a red flag. It's not healthy. It's a form of manipulation or control camouflaged as boundary setting. Recognizing this helps maintain healthy, respectful relationships. Let's talk about consistency between words and actions, which I like to think of as predictable reliability. This is a real green flag in any relationship because trust really grows when someone's behavior matches their promises. An emotionally integrated person doesn't just rely on charm to hide any inconsistency. They actually show up. You know, Jung's concept of the persona can be charming, but sometimes brittle. What truly matters is what they do when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. So, what are some signs you'll notice? Well, they follow through on plans, they show up even in small ways, and their emotional tone remains steady over time. It's important to recognize that they're not swinging back and forth with dramatic highs and lows, which can sometimes look like passion, but actually mask instability. For example, if they say they'll be there for a tough conversation, they are, despite how awkward it might feel. That kind of follow-through is a strong indicator of consistency. And if you want to gently test this, try asking for a small favor that requires follow-through. Pay attention to whether they reliably follow through. That's a good way to see if their words match their actions. Now, be cautious of grand gestures or big promises that aren't backed up by day-to-day reliability. Sometimes, those big acts are just performance. What really matters is the everyday consistency that creates safety and trust in the relationship. Let's talk about encouraging your growth and tolerating your autonomy as a key green flag in a healthy relationship. When we say emotional safety includes celebrating a partner's separate life and supporting their growth, we mean that a secure partner recognizes that both the light and shadow of an individual must be free to evolve. You'll notice signs of this when they genuinely encourage your hobbies, listen to your ambitions, and don't punish or criticize you for seeking independence. A secure partner is confident enough to let you change and grow without feeling threatened. For example, they might cheer you on for a career move, and when you need space to pursue it, they offer practical help instead of guilt-tripping you. That's a real sign of support rooted in security. To test this gently, try discussing a goal that matters to you and observe their reaction. Are they supportive and encouraging, or do they subtly undermine your efforts? Be cautious of support that feels thinly veiled or controlling, like saying, "I'll support you as long as you don't travel too much." That signals insecurity, not safety. True support respects your autonomy and growth, fostering emotional safety in the relationship. As we wrap up, I want to talk about how to use these green flags without falling into the trap of becoming hypervigilant or overly critical. Jung's deeper warning is really insightful here. A polished persona can hide denial, and even nice people can be dangerous if they refuse to face their inner darkness. So, it's important to approach these cues with a balanced perspective. Self-awareness is key. These individuals know their patterns and triggers, which helps them stay grounded. Emotional honesty means they can express their feelings openly without weaponizing them or using emotions as a weapon. Accountability is about more than just saying sorry. It's about repairing what's broken and genuinely changing behavior. Non-defensiveness means they stay curious during conflicts, rather than shutting down or becoming defensive. I encourage you to think of these green flags as a sanity check filter. They're not a perfect checklist for finding flawless people, but rather signs of emotional maturity and integration. A truly safe partner will consistently show several of these flags over time, especially self-awareness, emotional honesty, accountability, and non-defensiveness. By keeping these in mind, you can better navigate relationships with confidence and clarity.